Hey God's people, welcome back to the Hope Dealer with me, Mercedes, your host. This is episode 21, which is entitled, There's a Blessing in the Storm. God's people, I began to struggle with depression, I want to say maybe about 2 weeks ago now. And for me, I don't immediately notice it. It takes a minute, while I'm in it to notice it. And that's the thing about it, and that's how you know it's a tactic of the enemy, because it's sneaky and it creeps, right? And that's what it creeps up on you. You think you cool and everything, and then you start to see, once you pay attention to the details, you start to, realize I'm depressed. And for me, it's not anything that I want to admit to myself. It's not anything that I want to feel. It's something that has plagued my life for so many years. So I don't want the infliction. I want it gone, and I want it gone for good. It's a horrible feeling. The reason why I haven't done a video in a while is because if you struggle with depression, or you know somebody that has struggled with depression, you know that it takes away motivation for things that you love to do or that you want to do. So a few days ago, when I, really realized, I'm depressed, I put up in my driveway, and I started talking to God, and I was like, God, I'm depressed. I thought that you delivered me. I thought you delivered me from this, because I started Hope Dealer, the podcast, on Spotify. I did 7 episodes there, and then I took a break and I started vlogging and all these things and all the stuff that I wanted to do. And my purpose and God was knocking and tugging and knocking and tugging, like it has been since I was 32 years old. And I was ignoring it. And then I was just like, you know what? It got to the point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. I was so displeased and unfulfilled and so empty and just so sad, and I was depressed, and I was going through all these things, and I decided to surrender. So I just stopped vlogging, and I was like, God, I'll do it. I'll tell the world, I'll tell the nations how good you are. I'll sing of your good works. I'll let them know what you brought me through and what I've overcome. I'll speak your gospel. I'll learn of it. I'll do whatever. I surrender, because I was so tired of feeling the way that I was feeling. So here it goes, the ending of the year. I hadn't felt it since I had began to walk fully in my calling, and I surrendered to God. I hadn't felt depression. Haven't felt it. But here we are, December. Today is December 31st, the last day of the year, 2024. And here it is, about to end this year, and it crept up on me. So a couple days ago, like I was saying, I realized, I was depressed, and I was just like, this is not going to work. This ain't going to work. I don't want this. I don't want to feel this. What is it? So I put up in the driveway, and I started to talk to God, and I was just like, God, I thought that you took this away from me. I thought that I was delivered from depression. Why am I feeling like this? I don't want to feel like this. I need help. What can I do? What to do, Lo and behold, God had already given me instructions. I go in the house, and he spoke very fast to me. When I talked to him and I asked him, and told him how I was feeling and how I didn't want to feel this infliction, and how I thought you took it away from me and I was delivered, all these things, I went upstairs, went in my room, and there was a message for me. And God spoke through, this living vessel, and spoke to me and told me, follow my instructions. Follow my instructions, or you will stay. You will stay captive. You will stay in bondage if you do not follow my instructions. And it was basically, the message was stating, like, some things like smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, drinking. I never really prayed for those things to fall off of me. It just got to a point where I just, slowly weaned off of it. And, well, no, not alcohol. Hold on. Not alcohol. Alcohol, no, not that. I didn't wing off of that, but I did not pray to be delivered from that. I used to, if I got too intoxicated and I was, belligerent, just, tough from the floor up, drunk, I would be calling on God, asking him, please sober me up, please. And I won't do this no more. And I was lying. I lied because I would be doing it again, So drinking, no, that did not slowly fall off of me. That I quit cold. Well, that's not true. It did. It slowly fell off of me, but I also was able to quit that cold turkey, But like cigarettes and marijuana, weed, I slowly weaned off of that to where I had no more desire to, smoke it. And so those are just examples. Like those things I did not pray for God to deliver me from. Those things they just fell off of me in the season that they were meant to fall off of me. But the message was stating that some things are going to they're going to take more. They're going to require more of me. This may help somebody. And it was telling me to fast and pray. God has been telling me for the latter of this year to fast and pray. And I have been half doing it. I was going to say half, the ASS. Yeah. I have been half doing it, so I got it. I understand, and I'm taking the steps to get to that level, of fasting and praying and getting there, I heard God and I understand, everything is not going to be that easy. That's the thing about us as human beings. We think that we can just wave a wand and God is this magic genie, but he's not. He's not. We have to work too. We have to put in effort too as well. But this episode is all about paying it forward. When I have been in seasons of my life where I felt like giving up and not wanting to go on, and I had dealt with inflictions like depression and mental illness, God always came and sent somebody. I feel like he comes personally. I do. And he's always just, come on, baby. Come on. I'm here. You still got life. You still got things to do. You still breathing because I still have purpose for you. So I want to pay it forward to you and let you know you here still. Yeah, you may be going through stuff. You may be walking the pits of hell. You may be walking on coals. The flood may be just, drowning you. The storm may be drowning you. It might be so much going on in your life that it's exhausting. I know how it feels, and I want to pay it. Yes, this is my chance to pay it forward. And I know that, storms get hard. Things be overwhelming. Bills and disrespectful kids and, not knowing where your next meal is going to come from, or you may be homeless. You may be staying with a family member or sleeping in your car. You may be in a total uncomfortable season of your life. But I'm here to let you know, a person that has overcome so much. Where I wrote my notes for this episode, I wrote down some of the things that God has helped me. He's the reason. It's hard to say help me, but he's helped me overcome all the things that he's brought me through. I listed some and I'm going to read them out for you. And this is just to uplift you and encourage you and let you know that I overcame these things with God, and not giving up. Seeing someone like myself come across my screen and tell me it's going to be better, you're going to overcome this. Having that feeling and just thinking, a lot of times I would think about what God had brought me through in the last season, when I was going through something hard, the last time I was going through a hard season. that also helped me, you know, to know like, okay, I went through that and I came through that, you know, and it made me stronger. It was uncomfortable, but it made me stronger. That helped me to know that he's going to come through for me again. You know, if I don't give up and I keep on fighting, he's going to come through, you know, and I'm going to make it. I'm going to overcome this. And I want to share that with you because everybody's life is different, right? Everybody's experience is different. And you may just haven't been through nothing yet. or you may just be completely hopeless, because I know how that feels too. So that's why I'm here, okay? So here are some things that, you know, God has helped me to overcome. So I barely made it to this earth. When I was, you know, in my mother's belly, you know, it was some things that transpired that I barely made it here, okay? Childhood abuse, overcame it. Some children, God, you know, I hate to, you know, repeat it, but we know some people don't make it. You know, they're unalive as children from abuse, you know, because I was abused by more than one person, okay? Deaths of loved ones, people that were very close to me, you know, my grandmother, who was a mother to me. She was a mother when my mother wasn't there. You know, I lost her at a very young age, but I overcame that, right? It still hurts, but I overcame it. And my uncle, who was a best friend to me, was like a father, a best friend, an uncle, all these things to me in one, you know, and he played a big role in my life, and he was very special to me, both of these people. I overcame that. So death of a family member, of loved ones. Troubled teen. I was a troubled teen. I used to steal, and I used to steal and got caught, went to juvenile hall, you know, didn't go back to court. So I got a warrant and I was in and out of juvenile hall because of that. And depression, I began to struggle with depression around 14 and 15. Mental illness, you know, was diagnosed with PTSD and bipolar at the age of 15. Right before my 16th birthday. Okay, so I was struggling with that hard. Single parent. I became a single parent at the age of 19. Domestic violence survivor. I was abused, you know, in my first real relationship. I was in an abusive, toxic, detrimental relationship. Okay, that God saved me and brought me through. I overcame that. Homelessness. I was homeless. A lot of times I was living with family, or with my significant other's family, or, you know, at one point I was homeless, sleeping in the car, okay? Losing everything more than once, okay? So losing a whole storage, having that taken from me. So someone stealing my stuff has happened more than once, okay? Furniture, clothes, shoes, bags. More than once, okay? In my 20s, this has happened to me. Heartbreak. So heartbreak, not just from a significant other, but my children, my mother, my father, my family members, you know, heartbreak, shattering, like earth-shattering heartbreak, you know, being cheated on, you know, being abandoned, you know, being betrayed, all these things I experienced, okay? God brought me through. I overcame. Loneliness, brokenness, emptiness, suicidal ideations, suicidal thoughts, depression. I'm going to bring that up again because, like I said, that had plagued me for many years, okay? And just so much. There's more, but, you know, those are just some of the things that God had brought me through and I overcame, you know? So if you are going and struggling with any of those things, it can happen for you. Please don't give up. Don't give up. If you don't give up, then you're going to overcome. You will overcome. You will overcome. Right now, I hope that I am being a beacon of light, you know, and hope for you. I don't look like what I've been through, God's people. I don't look like what I've been through. And, you know, I'm writing a book. And, it's been a long time with this book, but it's going to come out one day. And then also, like, I do these things, How I Know God Is Real. That's the name of the book. And I do those on my podcast. I was supposed to be doing it once a month, but I will begin that again. I'll restart doing that next month. So anyhow, you'll hear the story, you know, you guys will hear things. sometimes it's hard to share, you know, like it's hard to share, but if I feel like, and I know that it's gonna save somebody, I'm gonna share. You know, it don't matter what people think about me, because like my mama always used to say, people ain't got no hell in heaven to put you in. You know, they just don't. It doesn't matter what they say. What matters to me is what God thinks about me. That's what matters to me. You know, my stories, my testimonies, it makes me smile when I do share them, because at the end of the day, look at what I've overcome with God. Look at what I've overcome. There's no way. That's why it'd be crazy, like, you meet and you hear about people who don't believe in God, and it's just like, well, maybe they haven't experienced something supernatural. Like all those things that I just named, overcoming them things, a lot of them, that's supernatural. Like, seriously, like, you yourself, we couldn't do that. Only God could save you and bring you through stuff like that. Okay? And you've come too far. So don't stop now. Why would you stop? Why would you stop? Like, for me, like, even when I'm like at the point, you know, don't want to go on, it's like, I talk to myself and I tell myself, Mercedes, you literally fought. You literally fought in the spirit, in the natural, to get here, to see 39 years. You literally fought as a baby that hadn't even been born yet. You was literally fighting. You have fought your whole entire life. Why wouldn't you want to see the promises that God has promised you? God's people. Why wouldn't you want to see the promises that God has promised you? Why would you forfeit your promises to the enemy? You've come too far. You have fought too long. I literally, you know that song by Kirk Franklin? I've gone through the fire and I've been through the flood. I've been broken into pieces, seen lightning flashing from above. But through it all, I remember that He loves me and He cares, and He'll never, never put more on me than I can bear. Never. But I honestly be feeling like I have gone to the ends of the earth, like literally gone to hell and back. And there's no way the enemy is gonna take my destiny away from me by lying to me and telling me it ain't gonna get no better. That's never gonna change. You're never gonna, be successful. You're never gonna get out this situation. You're gonna always be homeless. You're gonna always be, last. You're gonna always be the borrower, not the lender. All these lies that he spews to us. All of the intrusive thoughts that he gives. Don't you forfeit your promise. Because if you've gone through some things, hard times, and if you've gone to hell and came back and rose, like God rose through the ashes, okay, there's a promise for you. And that's a better life. Like, it's a better life. It's a better life. Like, there's hope, man. There is hope for the future. It really just is. And yeah, I want to see the promised land. And I'm not just talking, about the earth, seeing heaven here on earth. I want to do that. I want to see that too. I'm getting a glimpse of it, right now. I'm getting a glimpse of it. And it's just so beautiful. I want to experience heaven on earth, and I feel like I'm already experiencing that, but also I'm talking about actual heaven. So by surrendering to God and staying, on the narrow path and, doing things His way. Oh, yes, of course, falling. Oh, yes, faith wavering, but not turning back to the world, continuing to repent and continuing to be, you know, on the road to get closer to him, and continue to, you know, die to myself daily. These are the things, you know, these are the things that are going to help me to see heaven, and asking God continuously for a pure heart. You know, those are the things that are going to get me there, and that are going to get you there, God's people. So share, you know, God's good works. I want to share. I'm going to share. I'm going to share his good works, you know, and I'm going to share his love that I feel and that he gives me, you know, and he gives me through people, through just the feelings that I feel when I commune with him, or just, I want to give his love back, and I want to speak about all the good things that he has done for me and some other people that I've seen him, you know, work through as well. Get up and fight. Don't give up. Don't give up after you, if you had a hard life and, you know, you constantly overcome things. God has brought you through so many things. Don't forfeit the promise. And you deserve all that's coming to you physically and spiritually. God's people, don't forget what you went to hell and back for. You know, now that I'm sitting here as an overcomer, you know, and I know there's going to be things to come in the future that may be hard. You know, I'm not claiming those things, but this is still life. We're still, you know, in an earthly body, and we're on this earthly world, you know, we're in this earthly world, right? So, you know, it ain't going, God didn't, one thing about it, even when you come to God and you surrender your life to him, he ain't promised a bed of roses and rainbows and cotton candy and all. No, that's not, he ain't promised that. That doesn't come until you go and be with him. I feel like, you know, like you're not guaranteed easy. If, matter of fact, I'm gonna keep it real with you. It could be intense. At times it's intense. Since I surrendered my life to God, there has been a lot of spiritual warfare, a lot of intrusive thoughts, which is spiritual warfare, saying, oh, you did that wrong, or you shouldn't share that, and people attacking you out of nowhere and all these things. A lot of spiritual warfare, you know, so it can get heavy, but you have to know that God is with you, walking with you during those times, during the storm. He's here walking with me. He is there walking with you. So I'm going to survive it. And that's the thing, like, remember what you went to hell and back for. It's to tell your testimony. It's to say, somebody, I understand that now. A lot of things I've gone through, I may have had to go through those things. It may have I feel like I had to go through them, so that I can let somebody know that feels hopeless right now that there's hope. That there is hope. There's hope for new beginnings. There's hope to feel whole after being shattered. I was at one point I was shattered. I was shattered. The person that I thought that I loved and that I wanted to be with forever didn't no longer want me. Abandoned me, left me, betrayed me, lied to me. As a kid, you know, just so many times. But what I just shared right then and there, that was the moment that I felt shattered. That stands out, you know, as a dope. And some other things too. But, you know, we'll say that for later. That's a whole nother topic. But shattered. These things had to take place. They had to take place. Because I could tell you now, right now, December 31st, 2024, me, Mercedes Ward, I feel whole. I feel whole. And yes, do I remember those things? Those are just so that you never forget where you came from. Okay? So that you can tell the next person that's struggling, that feels hopeless, doesn't think that there's hope in a future for them, that there is. That if you're feeling broken, feeling shattered, you can feel whole in God. If you homeless, you can come through. You'll get another place. If you give up though, then what? And who you letting down? Who you letting down that you give up? And I ain't just talking about the people that's in your inner circle, like your kids or your family or whatever. I'm talking about somebody that really needs it. Somebody that don't know you. who you letting down. So remember that. And sharing my story, I'm sharing my story because it's important to share what you overcame and what God has, brought you through. Because a lot of times when I was in, going through things, walking through storms, all I needed was somebody to just tell me that it was gonna be okay, and I didn't always get that. But we just need to hear it. Sometimes you just need to hear it. I love to share the things that God brought me through because I know I had days where I felt like, where he at? Oh, it's a God? Where he at? Why am I going through this if there is a God? Even if I knew that there was, because I know he real. But it was times where I didn't feel like it was a thing. I didn't feel like he was, where are you? Where are you? So I like to share my story because it is a God. He's very real. And he has brought me through so many things. And I want to be to somebody what I needed. Because a lot of times I did not have that. I was just going through them storms without someone to let me know, Mercedes, it's going to be okay. Mercedes, I have overcome this, that, and the third. And I know one thing for certain. If I could come back from the dark places that I've been and the storms that I've gone through, then you sure can. So it's important for me to share God's works because I know how it feels to not have that. Not have anyone to pull me. There's times that I didn't have it, but then in life and experiences, that there's times where it was very clear that it was God coming to get me, But this is when I was in the world. I'm talking about when I was in the world. Okay, when I was hot and cold and wasn't really thinking about doing God's will or none of that. So I'm doing it for you, for somebody that may be in a world. Maybe straddling the fence, hot and cold. It's real. God is real. It's a real deal thing. And he gave me hope in the future. Okay, and I'm experiencing, I'm at the very beginning of experiencing my heaven here on earth. Okay, and my promise. And it's real. It's real. It's real. And I don't give up, because if you give up, you don't experience it. You forfeit it. Why would you want to do that? You've gone through too much. You have gone through too much. You've seen too much. Get up and fight, girl. Get up and fight, boy. Go get your promise. There's hope in God. Somebody needs to hear it. Somebody needs to know what you've been through, so that they can stay strong and that they can know that I'll make it through this if I don't give up. Jeremiah 29, I'm paraphrasing it, okay? God says in Jeremiah 29, that's my favorite verse, that he knows the thoughts that he thinks of you. He thinks very good things of you, and he is come to bring good to you, not evil. And he's come to give you hope in a future, which is an expected end. He knows what he has for you. But if you give up and you don't keep fighting, then you'll forfeit it. Don't do that. God loves you, and so do I. Until next year. Until next time.